That is some dang good coffee right there. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about something that is very crazy that is going on with the Irish government. When I read an article talking about mass slaughtering of animals, and normally it cuts right through me, straight to my heart. And I'll tell you one thing, the one thing that I love very deeply in life is all my animals, especially since we live here on a farm with cows and pigs. The grunting noises are Hamilton and Beans. They are like a old couple and they argue all the time, but they still love each other. But they're not that old, and Beans is pregnant and about to give birth any day. So I came across this article from Natural News, and hopefully y'all will stay tuned and listen to it and bear through it. Also, if you hear something weird in my voice, it's because I have this weird slime virus or whatever that's been going across, sweeping the nation here of lately, and I've been sick for about 3 weeks or so now. And Lord willing, another day or so and I'll be back up and going. It's out of my throat and now it's just in my lungs, so it's just a little hard to breathe. Save the planet, starve the people. Irish government proposes slaughtering 200,000 dairy cows to meet climate targets. Oh good, I'm glad. The coffee this morning is Jamaica Me Crazy coffee that you can pick up at TheTexasBoys.com. Shameless plug. And then also I put some native mud in there and some incredible unvaccinated honey, and that is my combo for this morning. Oh, and some delicious coconut cream, but it'd be really good with fresh cream as well. In order to stop so-called global warming, you know, New York's underwater, y'all, and climate change, the Irish government has proposed calling 200,000 dairy cows to meet the country's climate targets. Oh good, I'm glad. The Irish government's report came from an internal briefing paper from the Department of Agriculture looking for strategies to bridge the immense gap in the sector. This particular plan calling around 65,000 dairy cows annually until the target of 200,000 cows slaughtered is reached in order for the country's agriculture sector to align with overall climate targets. I'm glad that these governments always see animals and people as just like data points and stuff like that, and you know, they do a simple calculation and they think it's as easy as, yeah, just you know, okay, yeah, we just have to get rid of 200,000 dairy cows. No problem. Boop. You know, they think since they're the government, they can do everything and destroy all these farmers' livelihoods by saving the planet. However, Elaine Julian of the Rural Youth Organization, MASSACRE, hopefully I'm pronouncing these names right, expressed her distaste for the proposal, describing it as a complete knee-jerk report. Julian pointed out the negative message the reports would send to young farmers. She also questioned whether Ireland and Europe are truly committed to generational renewal and combating so-called climate change. The Irish Creamery Milk Suppliers Association, ICMSA, a lobbying group representing the country's dairy industry, also warned that any plan to call the country's dairy herd, if it must happen, should be voluntary. Interesting. If there is to be a scheme, it needs to be a voluntary scheme, said ICMSA President Pat McCormack. That's absolutely critical because there's no point in calling numbers from an individual who has borrowed on the back of a huge financial commitment, on the back of achieving a certain target that's taken from under him. Sure. McCormack further emphasized the importance of involving farmers in any changes. This isn't the start, this isn't the end, this is an environmental journey, and agriculture can play a significant role there, he said. He added that Irish farmers are willing to do their part to reduce their negative impact on the environment, but he insisted that the Irish government should invest in infrastructure and technology to make that happen. Sure. What if the whole climate change debacle wasn't really a real thing? Then you would this would all be, a bunch of baloney. You'd just be killing a bunch of innocent cows, All these animal lovers and stuff, you won't ever hear any outrage when it comes to their beautiful climate change thing. Climate alarmists and those profiting from the destruction of global agriculture continue to ignore the truth about livestock's supposed role in emissions. Advocates of the climate agenda often portray cows as significant contributors to atmospheric methane. However, the depiction is a false claim. The methane emitted by ruminant livestock is essentially inconsequential as a greenhouse gas. Moreover, methane or methane produced by cattle is part of the natural biogenic carbon cycle, which has existed since the beginning of life on Earth. No way, really? They didn't just start farting? It's like God made them like that, and all of this greenery around me absorbs all of that and turns that into beautiful fresh air naturally. And we don't have to cut it down and turn it into a solar farm or a wind farm and raise bugs underneath the solar panels. It's just like, it's almost like it was almost like a creator designed all this, But that couldn't be. It was just a big bang accident, It is essential to acknowledge that farming plays a vital role not only in preventing global food shortages, but also in sustaining livelihoods and economies. In Ireland, agriculture has long been a driving force for the economy, adding along by multinational investments in the country's industry. Irish beef and dairy brands like Kerrygold and Pilgrim's Choice have achieved remarkable success as reports. However, cows have now become a symbol of the political manipulation and greed behind a manufactured climate crisis. So there you go, y'all. That is the article for today. It's just so sad what people will do when they have this totally fake, made-up propaganda agenda. And I can tell y'all one thing, it is not to save the planet, I promise you that. It is definitely to control we the people more, 100%. You go slaughtering 200,000 dairy cows, first of all, you destroy that economy. Second of all, the prices go through the moon, And the sad thing that's been going on around here lately in Texas is that we had a real bad drought last year, really bad drought, and a lot of people had to sell out, a lot of people. And this is just the craziest thing. I wanted to tell you all this story. So my neighbor, Mr. Larry, at his church, they're selling ground beef for $10 a pound. Now, it's non-vaccinated and, good, healthy, grass-fed beef. $10 a pound. Well, guess how much these normal big cattle ranchers around here are getting for their cows when they take them to a sale barn? $1 a pound, maybe a little bit more. But it's very sad, People will pay 10 times the price of beef. And I've talked to these farmers before, you know. And I know several of them, like these bigger ag farmers, and they just can't get it in their heads yet. Lord willing, they finally will, because it's so crazy. You can be more profitable with a herd of 50 cattle than a herd of 300 cattle, you know? So I was talking to a rancher buddy of mine, and I think it's his grandpa. His grandpa has 300 to 400 head of cattle, and they barely break even every year. And that is the same exact thing, the exact same story with a rancher right over the forest there. 800 some odd acres. They got 300-400 head of cattle. And I worked there for quite a while for them, helping them out, you know, herding cattle, different things like that. I had a fun time. And they barely broke even every year. The only thing that was keeping them afloat was his welding business. And, you know, it's really sad. You know, they trailer up all these cattle. They dump literally hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Roundup and fertilizer on their pasture and graze on their pasture to get this perfect grass, you know, because they just can't bear to see a couple weeds grow up in their pasture. It's a totally broken system. It's a man-made system. It's totally artificial. And that's why it's eating their lunch. And that is why, if you are a rancher that's watching this, I beg you, this is what I'm doing. And I'm absolutely loving it. I'm just getting into this, but I'm applying this key thing, and that is cutting out the middleman. You know, guess what I am? I'm the rancher and the seller. You know, I don't sell I sell directly to the buyer. And that is absolutely incredible because there's no third party involved. I take it to my butcher. Eventually, I want to start butchering them, but I got a lot on the table right now to start doing that. And then that's where it's even better, when you cut out the butcher part and then you're just straight profit. That's awesome stuff. So take it to the butcher, you know, pay $1 a pound, you know, $1 per pound to get it butchered or whatever. And then I go ahead and distribute it, you know. So for $6 a pound for my neighbors or something like that. And then, you know, on up. So it's just, and also just providing healthy meat and ground beef for our family. And guess what? We don't have to trust in these disgusting labels that they're putting on our food nowadays. And we don't have to be like, does this have some toxic cancer juice in it? Because I can look out there at my cows and be like, absolutely not, you know, because we don't vaccinate or do anything like that to our cattle, or spray anything on the fields. You know, the only toxic thing that they might be getting in them is stinking chemtrails that they're spraying everywhere, but you can't stop that for now. So anyway, I'm all done rambling. Hopefully y'all liked today's video. Hopefully you liked my little setup I have here. Lord willing, I will be tip-top tomorrow. If you like today's content, go check out TheTexasBoys.com, where we have lots of different products, and you can support several different family farms, which I absolutely love. You're not just supporting us, but we actually provide a service to other family farms out there to get their product out to y'all. We got unvaccinated honey, and we got a plethora of different drinks and coffees, from flavored coffees to CBD coffee. I know, that might intrigue you. It's really good. It's organic CBD coffee. And lion's mane coffee, and our native mud, which tastes really good if you just add it in with your coffee. Double dip. So anyway, y'all, love y'all so much. I would very much appreciate for you to go check out TheTexasBoys.com. And with all that said, love you so much, and we'll see y'all